Hey yo, what's good with y'all? I'm back with another banger. It's been a little bit. I finally actually got a job, so I haven't been able to record or just focus as much, but I'm gonna get back into the grind and keep cranking videos out. So if you're an NBA fan and you like NBA videos, what are you doing? Why are you not subscribed? But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the Los Angeles Clippers and what this 3-1 choke can do to their franchise down the line. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so as we all know, the Clippers played the Nuggets in the second round of the NBA playoffs. After game 1, after the Clippers demolished them, everyone thought that it was going to be a pretty quick and easy series. And then we went down the line and they're up 3-1 and it's basically over. That's what we all thought. It's game like 5 now. They're up 19 in the third quarter. It feels like everyone's given up. It's like GG to the Nuggets. Now what? But no, the Nuggets fight back. Crazy game. Paul Millsap steps it up offensively and defensively, and they come back and win that game. And then they go to game 6, and it's like, alright, they're gonna win now, right? But no, they choke a 16-point lead in this game. And it's like, what is up with this Clippers team? Something's not right. And we go to game 7. Game 7, they were up 11 in the middle of the game. At halftime, the Nuggets just completely fell apart, and it just didn't look like they were gonna win, and the Clippers were gonna go on to the Western Conference Finals, to where we all thought they were gonna go and face LeBron and the Lakers. But once again, they choke another lead and end up losing by about 20. And so the real question is, what happened? What happened to this team? And there's a number of factors that happened. As we all know, Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell were both 6th Man of the Year candidates, but going into the bubble, they just weren't that, and they just weren't themselves that we saw in the season before. So it looked like that if the Clippers wanted to just be a good team in this bubble and playoffs, Kawhi and Paul George were going to have to step it up. But that's the exact opposite of what they did. In the second half of the Game 7, they had a combined 5 points. Yeah, you heard that right. 5 points on 2 of 18 shooting from the field, which is terrible. And even worse, in the fourth quarter alone, you're not even going to believe it, they had 0 points. This is a dude, Paul George, on the Thunder last year, who we thought was an MVP candidate. He looked like a top player in the league offensively and defensively. He hasn't shown up. Kawhi, he doesn't show up. Debatably the number 1 player in the league, not anymore. And just overall, we just see a Clippers team just go down in pain. And what I think is also crazy about this, that just doesn't get enough light, is I feel like Doc Rivers is at blame a ton, because Mike Malone and the Denver Nuggets are constantly adjusting to the Clippers game plan, and they're able to keep fighting and winning games down. But Doc Rivers is trying to do the same thing throughout the game, and he's just getting outcoached as a whole. But yeah, so the Clippers choke this lead, and looking back on it, this might be one of the biggest chokes of all time, if you really think about it. Because we all know in 2016, Golden State choked probably the biggest playoff series of all time to the Cavs, 3-1 lead, the iconic series. But the thing is that they were dealing with ejections from Curry and suspensions from Green throughout the series, and it wasn't like everything went perfectly and they still choked. But the Clippers, they don't have much of an excuse. You have 2 superstars in Kawhi and Paul George, and you have a solid team around them. How do you lose to this Nuggets team that's young and has very little experience? It's mind-blowing for being real, and on Kawhi Leonard's career for the future and just his general outlook at the end of his career, this is going to be a huge stain on his resume. As we all know, one of the biggest things that people bash LeBron about is his playoff performance in 2011. And, you know, this was the first time on a new team, and they lost to a team that they just shouldn't have. But this team, this Clippers team, they lost in the second round to the Denver Nuggets. And as you guys all know, I said the Nuggets are my favorite team to watch in the bubble right now. But dude, you can't lose to this team. You're the number 1 favorite to win it all, and you lose. Not only lose, you choke a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. It's sad, honestly. But what's even more sad is I don't know if Doc Rivers is going to come back. He just choked his 3rd 3-1 lead of all time. And he's the only coach that's ever choked multiple 3-1 leads, and this is number 3. He completely got outcoached in the series, and if we're being real, we all need to lower our expectations of what Doc Rivers is. We always have thought of him as a good coach, but he's shown time and time again that he just can't coach in the playoffs. It kind of reminds me of Mike Budenholzer. Anyways, this leaves us in a weird situation. It looks like LeBron and the Lakers are going to get his 4th ring, which is I'm happy for. I'm a big LeBron fan. They're not my favorite team to watch, but I'm not going to be mad if Nuggets pull something off, and that'd be dope. He'd have been looking good. But what's next for the Clippers? One thing that not many people have noticed or just talked about is that Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Patterson, and Reggie Jackson all have expiring contracts, which is like, okay, they can try to get them back. But right now, this year, they paid their team about 133 mil, and the cap's 115 mil. And after these players' contracts expire, they're already going to be paying 115 mil. So if they want to get these guys back, they're going to have to go over the salary cap and spend luxury tax. What's really big though is they're not going to be able to get certain people back on their same contracts. Like this year, Marcus Morris got paid 15 mil, and they're obviously not going to replicate that for him, especially for his role that he played on the team. And like Montrezl Harrell was getting paid 6 mil, and he's broke out as like a 6th man of the year candidate. So that if they want to keep him, they're going to have to pay him more. So next year, they're going to have a similar team, but I don't think it'll be as stacked, and they're just going to have to hope to run it back. It's like the one chance that they have. What's also kind of crazy is that both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are only technically signed till the year after that. They both have player options going into the 2021-2022 season, which is crazy because, as we all know, Paul George was traded away for a lot, specifically for Danilo Gallinari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 3 first-round picks from the Thunder, and 2 first-round picks that they had gotten from the Heat, and 2 pick swaps as well, which means they're losing 5 of their picks, and 2 of the picks that they actually have are going to potentially be downgraded with the Thunder's pick. The importance of all of these picks is severely underlooked because this year their New York Knicks are going to have their pick. The next year they're only going to have their pick if it's a top 4, and then the year after, that's OKC's pick. The year after that, they're going to have to swap it. 2024, OKC's pick. 2025, swap. And 2026 is OKC's pick. Which means the only year that they're going to have their first round picks is in 2023 and 2025, which both could potentially be swapped by OKC. Which means if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both try to leave this franchise after next year, after another failed playoff attempt, then the Clippers are going to have no future. It's going to remind many people of how the Nets were for a while. But the thing is, I don't think the Clippers can rebuild as fast as the Nets. They're going to be left in a position where in a single decade, they might be the most disappointing team of all time. Like how we're seeing the Clips right now, like they're just skill in general, not their future, but their skill is how we're going to be seeing the Clippers for the next couple years if they fail again. So this means that next year is huge for them. It's a must-win season, and this year was too, and they failed. But if they don't win next year and Kawhi and Paul leave, then it's over. All Clippers fans, be cautious and be wary because you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, this was my video on the Clippers and the impact of their 3-1 choke. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It'll make sure I keep coming back and creating content. I'm actually recording this before work, which is kind of crazy, so you guys got to subscribe for me. I'm trying to grind them out. I got school, work, I'm lifting, I got a lot going on. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.